Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's a guy who, much like Corey, is getting to celebrate Christmas here in August. I'm Rob Cesternino. Wow, I can't believe it. I'm so excited. What a show. Wish fulfillment time here on the podcast, because we are talking with a man who is soaring up the Joker's Update popularity charts. He's been called the one person in Big Brother 18 that we didn't come to hate. Here he is, joining us for the first time. What a long journey it's been. Glenn Garcia. Glenn, how are you?
What's up, guys? What's up? How's everybody doing?
Oh, Glenn, we're so excited. I'm so happy to have you here. This was such a long time coming, long time
Very
in
long
making.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy to have you here. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been making up for lost time with my family since I got half of my summer back, and just getting into the show like everybody else and getting crazy with all these idiots that are on there, and that's about it.
Good. All right, I can't wait to get into everything with you. Nobody cares about this guy, but he's here too. Taran Armstrong. Taran, you're in Glenn's shadow tonight.
Yeah, but I can promise that I'll never question whether or not you're cheating on me.
Yes, that's true. Because then if you think about it, then it could happen. If you just don't talk about it, then it'll be fine, and it won't happen.
Yeah,
okay.
You'd never cheat on me with Glenn, ever.
That's in a second, in a heartbeat. So we're going to get into everything, and then we got lots of updates over the weekend from the live feeds coming up later on. We're going to get your questions as well for Glenn, hashtag RHAP, and again, on our YouTube channel at robisawebsite.com/YouTube. All right, Glenn, so just take us through all of this, and what's been your experience, since you've gotten out of this house. You got to be in the battle back, you've come home, you've seen all this, so just take us through a little bit of what it was like getting back up to speed on everything.
It's pretty surreal. It's pretty hard. Like, you don't realize what kind of damage sequester really does to you because you really are lost, and you're like, it's crazy. It's even worse than being in jail, because in jail you still could get a phone call and you can still watch TV, and we couldn't even get anything. So it was pretty bad.
Yeah, worse than jail, sequester. I hadn't even heard that before.
Yeah, it's horrible.
All right, so Glenn, I know you have been doing a bunch of stuff. I saw on Twitter that you were at a viewing party hanging out with the Big Brother alumni, so you're like fully integrated into the Big Brother world now?
Yeah, I guess so. There was a few people there, really good, some good alum, but it wasn't major. It was only about a handful of us, but it was still fun. It's cool to watch it with them.
Okay. So, Glenn, how much of this Big Brother 18 have you seen now since you've been home?
I really only picked it up from when I got home. I really didn't go back to. I saw, of course, the first episode because I wanted to see my daughter and see what everybody was telling me about how I really did beat Corey, and they still didn't want to show me the feeds like that. But yeah, I'm pretty caught up. I've been watching since then and weighing in on a lot of things.
What an alternate universe this would be this summer if that Corey went home on that fateful night, and what would this game be like, Glenn?
Oh, completely different. You wouldn't see James, and you wouldn't see Nat, and you wouldn't see Nicole, because I was going right for the vets right away. So definitely the vets would have been out a lot sooner if I had it my way, which I think it would have been, because I already had my game plan laid out, and everything was running smoothly for the time that I was there until the twist.
So who did you have in your pocket? Who did you have ready to go to take out the vets?
Well, as soon as we got in, I got a real quick, strong bond. It was me, Jose, Bronte, Paul, Victor, and Natalie. That was my 6 that I clicked with real quick, and we already had a game plan on getting the vets out, and we already, it was in place. Everybody agrees to it.
And which vet was going to be your first target?
Well, it had to be, James was safe because I was on Victor's team. Nicole was on my team, so one of us was going to be HOH. It was probably going to be Day and Frank.
Okay. Wow. It would have been a whole different ball game, Taran.
Yeah, if you had stayed instead of Corey, how would you have handled that decision-making process after the competition when you were deciding who was going to be HOH?
Because I already said I was taking it. It was already deemed I was taking it.
So you would have been the HOH.
I was HOH, definitely,
Nice.
because Corey was like, oh, I don't know if I want blood in my hands, and Tiffany was like, I don't really want it, I really want it. So I was like, I'm taking it. That's it. Case closed.
But wouldn't Nicole have been like, hey, wait a minute, Glenn, I want to be HOH. I need to get a letter from my mom. I can't even.
Man, I would say, shh. I would have been like this, shh. That's it. I'm taking
That's it.
That's it. It was it.
Wow.
Because we had the game plan. We knew what we were going to do already. So, like, I was sticking to it, and that's the way it was going to be.
I think there's a chorus of fans right now. They're just like, where was Glenn in my life this whole season?
Yeah, of course, Taran.
Hey, listen, it was when I was screaming at them. This goes back to when I was screaming at them at the castle. I was like, come on. We're puzzle masters. We know how to do it. So I said, I'm not a puzzle master. No problem. I'll carry the pieces. You guys put it together. I put the pieces over. I looked at it right in 2 seconds. I said, this is wrong. I'm looking at Corey. Corey, you agree with me? He's like this, giving me that face. And I'm like, this is wrong. I'm not even a puzzle master, and I can tell you this is wrong. And sure enough, they showed me screaming. They really didn't hear me screaming the way I was really screaming at them. And sure enough, Glenn is right. Let's do it. Yeah, too late.
Yeah. Now, Glenn, you competed in the battle back this summer where Victor ended up going back into the house. What was your reaction to Victor going out and coming back in a second time?
Wasn't so upset about it because I like Vic. I think he's a beast in the comps. And on a personal level, he's a good guy. So I was rooting for him.
Okay. So you're happy that is Victor your pick of who you want to see win the game?
It's between him and Paul.
Okay. And did you have a good relationship with Paul? Did you have friendship in the house?
I was their pre-friendship. It was a real good friends,
yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Glennship, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one that he's not talking a lot of mad stuff about. He didn't have enough time, but he is crazy though. But it's a good crazy.
Yeah. So, have you watched any of the live feeds or anything like that, Glenn?
Yeah. Some I'm not on it like most people are. I do have a little 9-year-old that takes up most of my time. But when I can, I do watch it. I watch some of the After Dark.
Yeah.
So whatever I could squeeze in, I could squeeze in. But yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your story of how you ended up getting on the show because you're a non-traditional casting choice in Big Brother at this point. I don't think that's too outrageous of a thing to say. So
really?
Had you been applying for a long time? How did you end up on the show?
I applied one time. That's it. I applied. I applied because last season my family and friends told me I couldn't do it. So I said, yeah. I asked my mom. I said, Mom, think I could do this? She was like, you can't do that. You're too much of a flirt. And I was like, oh, really? I asked my girl, can I do it? You can't do it. You got too much of a, you're too hot-headed. Everybody kept telling me I couldn't. On the season finale that day when they said, anybody thinks they can get on, get on a Big Brother, go to the website, the whole shmeal. I went right down, did my 20-second little video, and that was it. It took off from there.
What'd you say in the video?
I basically, because they want to know who you are and why do you think you'll be good. And when I told them about what I did in my past, being a narcotics detective, and now that I'm a mobile dog groomer in the business, I said, when you meet me in person, you'll get my transition from kicking ass to cleaning ass. And they fell in love with it.
Cleaning ass? Oh, my God. So, Glenn, one of the things that really struck me in the preseason was you talked a lot about how with Big Jeff, you weren't going to be afraid to flirt with the women in the house if you need to, and nothing was going to happen, but you were going to use your flirtatiousness to be able to manipulate the female house guests in the house. Could you talk a little bit about how that was going to go?
I was just gonna, when I seen somebody that I tweaked their interest and maybe they thought they liked and they gave me a little flirting. If it was for my benefit, I was going in full in. That would have been the whole little thing with James is doing right now. And Natalie would have been perfect, to go on. Not Nicole, but anybody else. It was all about how I was playing up with them and how I was feeling. Some of them started looking at me more like a father figure, so I knew it wasn't going that route. But since I was holding court and they were listening to me and loving me, I said, all right, if I got to go that route, I'm going to go that route. But some other girls were flirting a little bit and being a little, friendlier, and I was like, that's cool too. So, like I said, short time in there, I really didn't get to press the buttons and test the waters that much either, but I was all for it.
So in this hypothetical situation, if Corey ended up being gone, that maybe that Nicole, she would have had no guys in the house that she could have really confided in.
She would have banged her head against the wall because what is she going to do without a guy in a relationship?
Glenn, I saw on Twitter recently that you were very upset that Nicole and Corey were in your bed and they were they were doing all sorts of things that they probably can't show on primetime television.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that I try to make light of a lot of things. Listen, I'm a jokester. I'm the first one to play a crank and you know say something stupid because I'm stupid at times. And you know people on TV didn't get to see it, but that was the first thing I thought. Instead of seeing them saying, "Hey, what the hell are they doing?" I'm like, "Dude, that's my bed." And you know like so I made light of it. I was like, "Dude, my bed. Change the sheets at least." You know, I was making a joke about it. Some people laughed and some people got all bent out of shape. But what are you gonna do?
Was it really your bed?
Yeah, that was my bed. That was my bed. That was my bed. It was me, then it was Paul, and then Frank. Those are the three beds in the anime room. And that bed was strategically picked by me.
Yeah, why?
Because as I'm an older man, in the middle of the night, we have to go to the bathroom. So instead of being in the other rooms that I have to open up doors and make noise, I was able to sneak away and sneak back in. And I was like, this is perfect for me. This is what I'm taking.
So it was strategic for how close it was to the bathroom, not that you could like spy on people or anything like
Yeah,
that.
nah, not at all. Just so I won't get people pissed off because when I'm sleeping,
Yes!
someone's gonna piss me off. I'm gonna get pissed off. So I said something I don't have to get people pissed off.
Okay, that was good. That was good thinking. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the house right now. I'd love to get your take that you know all of these people. All right, so we had this big challenge tonight, this endurance competition, where it came down to it was ultimately Nicole and James up still on that wall. And James, his whole thing is like, hey, wall competitions. I've won all these wall competitions. That's my thing. And then Nicole basically gets him to jump off by saying like, hey, James, I really need this letter. We've seen so many times before on Big Brother where people get burned in a situation like this. Could you believe that James made that deal?
I couldn't believe he did that because didn't he just do that with Day, you know, not too long ago, and then he just flipped the script? How could you trust anybody at that point? You know what I mean? Like, pretty dumb if you ask me, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I really think that he couldn't go any further. Like, he seemed like he was struggling a little bit. Like, what he did was he taught Nicole his techniques for staying on the wall
a little
really
too
long.
long. And he knew that Nicole was going to stay up there long because she weighs like, what, 90 pounds? You saw how she was in my coconut challenge, right? That island didn't even move. and I kept looking at it. She would go all the way to an end and it didn't even move. And I put one step to the right and the thing would bottom out. So, come on, you know she's going to stay up there for a long time.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, the Zingbot's eating his words after he said Nicole can't win anything.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. I get so frustrated, man. Because some of these challenges, I'm like, dude, guys, you couldn't have gave me some of these challenges. You're gonna give me balance, college, you know? I'm like, come on, you know, like even the one with Jose with Victor, the second one, if I would have beat him, that's another story. I could go on about that with the Poisonberry, but it's just. I don't know. I get frustrated. What can I say?
Well, go. We're there. Talk about it. So in the battle back, you took on Jose, and there was the Poisonberry, right?
That would empty them all out. First of all, I'm an idiot because I opened my mouth. Okay, I'm an idiot because I opened my mouth. Ready to do the game and to do everything, and I'm like, there is any questions, and I'm like saying to myself, my game plan was, I'm taking the Poisonberry, and I'm gonna walk over and I'm gonna hang out, and I'm gonna let Jose just run his ass up and down till it gets to 9, and then I'm going to pop it in, figuring I'm going to get tired out, and then I'm going to be able to. Then I'm going to, then I'm going to hustle. I'm going to get going. So right away I say that. Oh, then let us confer. And then we're like, oh no, you're going to have to. You can't hold the berry. You're going to have to tell us when you do. Like everything I was asking the questions, it was to my detriment. And then Jose was like, oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. I'm like, what an idiot. Why did I open my mouth? You know, like I should have just done it. And if the game's going on, then they can't tell me. Oh, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. So, like, I kicked myself in the ass for that.
Yeah, you gotta ask forgiveness, not permission, in the Big Brother house.
It's
Yeah.
good that you thought of that though. Like I think that was your optimal strategy there, and I mean that was a difficult comp to begin with, but it's a shame they didn't let you do that. Like you should have been able to outsmart Jose in that competition.
That was my plan. I was going to do that. I was going to go for one, then come back, then go get the berry, and just hang out and let him walk back and forth. And he would have been like, "What the hell is he doing?" And all that. And I would have been like, and then when he got, I would have popped it in. Then I would have started hustling. Like I never fell. He fell, but it was hard as hell. But of all people, that's the one guy that I don't want. Him or any girls on that competition, and that's who I got.
And then, so if you would have beat Jose, do you think you could have gone the distance and then beat out Victor?
I know the next one with Victor, listen, I play sports. I'm into it. I think I would have been better bouncing balls than Jose would because I just think I'm more into, as far as sports goes, I would have been much more inclined than he is. And I thought I could have done that challenge. So who knows? It could have anything else other than balance. I think I would have been doing good in.
Yeah, and then through Bronte and Tiffany, you could have done it. What a story it would have been! But even better than Victor getting back in twice.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been something. I definitely had a real high hill to climb, but I was in for it, man, and I was ready for it. And I just kept saying to myself, dude, give me something with strength. Give me something with memory. Give me, I've been watching Big Brother my whole life, and I'm going to say to myself, you're going to keep giving me these stupid balance competitions. I'm like, dude, I'm saying to myself, I can't believe it. Memory, anything else, I would have given him a run for the money. And it's still, with Jose, I think I got it in on time, and they're telling me that he got his 10th in before me. So, it is what you could do. It just bothers the hell out of me.
Yeah, I know. Glenn, you got such a raw deal going back to this. They're going to vote somebody out, or whoever loses competitions. That's not Big Brother. You get voted out of the house.
I said that as soon as I went in. I said, listen, I didn't sign up for the Amazing Race. I signed up for Big Brother. And my social game was my game. I was figuring I was going to do like half these other moves. I was going to lay low for a while and not do good. Even if I could do good in a competition, I was going to wait halfway and then just drop and do whatever I had to do and then show what I can do later on. That kind of competition, I didn't want to show that I could keep up. And then, when I got off and I lost, even the guys when they were saying goodbye to me, they were like, damn, Glenn, I didn't think you had that in you. And I was like, yeah, I didn't want to show nobody that, but I had to try to stay in,
Glenn, you seem like you're so intense, though. Would you have been able to lay low and be under the radar for a couple of weeks?
It would have been hard, man. It would have been hard, but I would have. But they really are dumb, man. A lot of them are dumb. So I thought I had it in the bag. I was like, I would have been like Steve. A lot of them. They don't know the game. That's what that killed me. Half of these people didn't know the game, and I was like, how can you be on the show and you don't know the game? And I'm saying to myself, is that good for me or is that bad for me? I knew Michelle was she knew everything. Like when I was saying, when we're on stage and Julie says, look at your other house guests, look, you can't talk to him, but you can look at. Everybody's just looking around and looking, wow, he's cute, he's nice. I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 12. I'm like, there's only 12 of us, and I'm going, oh man, they're gonna do this. I'm already knowing. We get into the house and I'm saying they're bringing in 4 vets. And, why? How? No, nobody knew nothing. I was like this. I was going to myself, are you crazy? Everything I said happened, and then everybody was looking at me like I was a god. Like, wow, Glenn, what else now? What's next? What's this?
You were the Messiah.
Like, this is what's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. So it was funny because they were already looking up to me, and I said, this is gonna be good.
Yeah. And then, Glenn, what about the siblings? Did you know that Paulie, right off the bat, was going to be related to Cody? I know he said the first night, and then Tiffany obviously
I called him out. I called him out on that upstairs.
What'd you say?
I looked at him, and he was looking good, and then I said, where are you from? Then he goes, Jersey. Yeah, I'm from the Bronx. And I looked at him, I went, this dude just looks exactly like him. So he looked at me, and we were going down the steps, and he goes, you know. And I was like, yeah, I know. And then he was like, well, I'm going to tell everybody now because it's going to get out. And I said, do what you got to do. Vanessa, Vanessa and Tiffany later on, I kept looking and looking and looking because I even thought Michelle was Nicole's sister because she was wearing the glasses, and when she first came in, it was a little iffy, and I said, well, if that's one sibling, maybe this is another. I said, I didn't know, but looks like she wasn't, so.
Yeah. Were you rooting at all for Paulie this season?
No.
Did you get along with him in the house?
I got along with him in the house. He was cool. Him and Corey were tight from the get. Right from the jump, they were tight. He was a good guy. I have no problems with him. He's an East Coast guy. We as they say, shoot the shit, and we chew the rag, and we were cool with that. And we had a lot of things in common from being on the East Coast, But I wasn't really rooting for him because he was a little. He was also very good, but I really want to root for him because I clicked more with the other guys.
Okay. All right. Well, out of those people that were vying to get back into the house, was Victor the person that you were hoping for to see get back in out of that 5?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I
What do
knew it
you
was going to
think?
be either him or Paulie. So, and I can't believe Paulie dropped out that easy.
Yeah. What about Davon and Zakia? Did that kill you to see them not only just giving up in the challenge, but then like jumping in together, holding hands?
It's like what a waste, you know. And from Zakia, I expected it because of what she's done. But Day, I thought she was going to have a little more fight in it, and she talks a great game. She talks a great game, but I couldn't believe they did that. I was like, oh my god, this is like horrible. This whole thing, I've said, if you would have seen my face so many times watching this show, going, are you kidding me? Like, it's frustrating because I really want to play the game. I love the game, and I'm like, and this is what they're left with, and I'm like, and here's a guy who's gonna go in and he's gonna make moves and he's gonna blow people up, and like couldn't wait for it. Like I wanted to be hated. That's what I wanted.
Glenn, you were going to be for Big Brother like what Tony was for Survivor.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
I had
follow
to bring it
Survivor
in.
also?
Yeah, I love Survivor. Matter of fact, that's the only other show I ever applied for. I
Mm-hmm.
applied for season 2 for Australia, and I made it to the top 25.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
talk
And
about that. I heard that recently on Twitter. So you applied to be on Survivor 2, the Australian Outback, out of like
yes.
what they get like 100,000 applicants for that season, and you made it to the top 25, and then they didn't take you, and then you just didn't want to pursue it further.
Yeah, I just got like turned off by the whole thing. I was so amped. I was ready for it. You know, back then I didn't do all the stuff that they do now, like I had to do for Big Brother. Everything was done here in New York, and pretty much I was just waiting for FedEx with plane tickets and documents and everything to do, and I had my bags packed and everything. I was waiting. Then I just got that letter saying that unfortunately, you know, when we do a cast, it's like puzzle pieces that have to mesh together, and your puzzle
Yeah.
piece was a little bit too dominant from the
And
other
you're like,
people.
don't get me
and,
started about puzzles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, right? Again. Yeah, I just thought about that. Another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, I pretty much just stayed a fan. Yeah.
But that's all the way back. That's 2000. It's 2016 when you go on Big Brother. So just in the 16 years in between these two close call, or this close call, and when you ultimately get on the show, you just are not trying to get on again.
Yeah, I didn't. I just got turned off on my. You know, life gets in the way, and then I started doing different things with my career, and I was doing crazy things. You know, being playing clothes undercover narcotics, and getting the time off would have been hard and stuff like that. So the 9/11, and then I have a daughter, and life gets in the way. So I was always a fan, but I said I don't think I'll ever be able to do it until now that I was out. I said now let me give it a shot, and like I said, I only did it because people told me I couldn't do it.
Glenn, how long would you be up on that wall for in that contest to get back in the house?
Until my nails ripped off or my shoulders popped out of sockets.
Yeah.
No
Really?
jumping off hand in hand.
No, come on. I would have screamed at them when they went off. I would have screamed. I was like, you suckers, you losers. I was like, come on. That's pretty sad,
What if they sprayed you with cold water in the face, Glenn?
Oh, my God. Well, they did it. They did it on the rocket, and they did it on the Battleback.
What if they tipped it to like a 45 or 50-degree angle?
Listen, you're going to hang on as long as you can. You're going to do what you got to do to win the game. That's what it comes down to. I'm telling you, my fingers would have had to dislocate. I can't. It gets me crazy. I can't take it.
All right, so Victor ends up being the person.
Everything I sacrificed.
Yeah, Victor ends up coming back and being the
And I'm
person.
surprised he fell too.
Victor, that he didn't become the HOH?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think maybe he just did that. Once he knew he was safe, then he might have dropped. That's what I was thinking because I'm telling you, the dude is a beast in the challenges. And he's fit, and he's really lean, he's thin, so.
Yeah.
That's another thing, what bothered me about the show is that, all right, I'm pretty strong. I go to the gym, I lift. My cardio ain't that great, but you don't know when you're getting called for the show. Like if they would have told me a month prior, you got it, you're getting in, I would have came down 15, 20 pounds lighter. I would have been ripped. You know what I mean? Like I would have hung with these kids. Like I would have looked, but they don't tell you nothing. literally the day they came to do that package, boom, I was gone. I was like,
Mhm.
you know, what are you supposed to say? No, let me go and work on now. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, that's what kills me. You know, like I was working out normally, but and I was like, Jesus Christ, you're putting me with this kid. It's 22, 24, 26, and I was like, I doubled and tripled their ages, and I was like, but
Yeah.
I was gonna, you know, if I use the French on your show, I was still gonna mind fuck all of them.
Yeah. Taran, has Victor talked at all about that he threw the competition once he knew he was getting back into the house?
No, I think he really was struggling. I think he even struggled to beat Paulie. It's a difficult competition for the taller guys, especially that have a bunch of muscle, because they have a lot more weight to carry, and their center of gravity is so much higher that's like multiplied. Their weight is multiplied by the fact that their center of gravity is higher. So it's a much more difficult competition for them. And I don't think he would have had any chance of beating the smaller people, especially somebody like Nicole, who's both short and very light.
Yeah. I don't think that Victor had any chill.
Natalie would have done. I think Natalie would have done good on that too.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Center of gravity. So then, in terms of the people now that are staying in, that are back in the game, where Victor comes back in, and him and Paul end up going to work with Nicole and Corey. Let's talk a little bit about this strategically, this idea of Paul making the flip back to go with Nicole and Corey. We'll talk about it from both sides. What about for Nicole and Corey? Do you like the idea of them working with Paul and Victor?
I think they really have no other choice. I think when Nicole said, "Well, let's maybe stay with a stronger team because if they know the next challenges they're going to win things," it's safer for them to have them on their side than against them, because James and Natalie ain't winning jack. You know, because I can't even believe they're there that long already. You know, like it's boggling me. But I don't know. At this point, when you're in there at this time, you know, things get desperate. Things, you know, you got to start thinking so many different, you know, different variables that, you know, I think she'd be smart if she would do it.
It's an interesting strategic point in the game because Nicole laid out what her goals were for the week in the episode, and she says that she wants to keep Paul and James at war with each other, which I think is a pretty smart idea. She wants to keep that Final Four, and she wants to get Meech out. So for her and Corey, they would rather end up going to the Final Four with that pairing of Victor and Paul, and not take the James and Natalie side of it. Taran, what do you think about that, just in terms of a vacuum, in terms of which pair they should be with?
Well, right now they definitely need to do what they're doing because James and Natalie have made it obvious that Michelle is with them, and Michelle has made it obvious that Michelle is against Nicole and with James and Natalie. So, you know, if one pair is actually a three, then they have to go with the other pair that's just a pair. As far as going down to the Final Four, though, it's probably better to kind of take one from each at that point, especially because Paul and Victor are such good competitors, and I think that they're both really big jury threats. Plus the fact that maybe Nicole can beat Victor in the final two, but Victor probably isn't going to take Nicole. He's probably going to be loyal to Paul. So there's not really a good situation there unless you win out. So ideally, I think you take out somebody like Victor and leave in somebody like Natalie and hope that Corey doesn't bone you.
Glenn, let's talk about that big altercation that we had tonight where Paul ends up getting into it with James and Natalie and Michelle. And while he's trying to talk things through, here comes Michelle, and she's sort of stirring the pot as she has done a couple times. And Paul really blows up at Michelle, calls her some very not nice words in the house. Did you lose any respect for Paul tonight for going to that level with Michelle?
No, not at all, because that he had to prove he's a good game player. I like a lot of things he does, and it might not be great. I was the same way. I think I would have done some of the things if I stayed in the house. People might not have been too.
Hold on, we're waiting with bated breath for the rest of it. Okay, hold on, Glenn, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so sorry, just say that one more time.
I think his game plan was good. I think he had to do it to make the other side think that he was really against them.
Yeah. So that you think that we should not get too upset about Paul going to that level with Michelle.
You know what it is? People gotta have look. Me being an ex-cop, you gotta have thick skin at some time. It is a game. You know, feelings are gonna get hurt. Listen, if you're gonna be pissed, you get pissed. But listen, I'm in there for 500K, and you know what? I got enough friends as it is. You gotta play the game to what's gonna be best for your gameplay. That's the way I was going in, just the way. That's why I respect Paul and I like what he does, because you got to do it at times. You can't always. Everybody can't be in there kumbaya, very happy and lovey-dovey, because you got to get blood on your hands. You know.
Yeah. Well, then the outcome of that ends up being where then Paul ends up rattling James and Natalie to the degree where he's saying that, okay, you put me up on the block, and James is like, what? I didn't make this decision. And then Paul's like, yeah, right. I know you guys do everything together. And Natalie's like, you know what? He said to me, whatever decision you make, I respect your decision. And to be honest, I'm trying to get him to vote out Corey this week. And then Nicole and Corey, that was it. That was like they made their own bed, Glenn, and not like your bed that Nicole and Corey ended up in.
Listen, I hate that couple. First of all, I hate showmances too.
Which couple? Which one?
I hate all of them. I hate every showmance there is. Every single showmance I hate. And it goes to show you that you're always strong when you're in a showmance. So as a player, why wouldn't you try to take them out so much earlier than now when it's down to the, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But that couple really cracks me up. I'm like, every time I look at it, I want to throw up in my mouth.
Taran, was that immediately known in the house that how bad that was when Natalie ends up saying that she was pushing James to get Corey out?
Not really. James and Natalie didn't really catch it too much, and Corey and Nicole didn't really let on that they had really been offended by that. Which is good on them. It's partly why James felt so comfortable with Nicole that maybe if he could have stayed on the wall longer, he did drop down. So in the moment, it wasn't like this big drop the mic moment where everyone was like, oh, what a mistake you made. They just kind of rolled over.
So, Glenn, I love that moment after the challenge was over where Natalie was like really upset with James about how he didn't win the challenge. And she's like, I'm not mad. I'm fine. I'm fine. I just thought that maybe that, you're the guy that wins all the wall competitions. I just thought maybe you could have won that competition. That's all. And that was great. So passive aggressive. I loved it, Glenn. That was perfect.
It just cracks me up. It just cracks me up. It's like both of them crack me up. It just I don't even know how they're both still there. It just I don't understand. I don't know what to say. It just cracks me up because
I'm gonna be really disappointed if we go up on the block, James. But it was totally your decision. Like, I totally respect you. I trust you. I trust you to make the right decision. But I don't think it was the right decision. But it was definitely a good decision on your part.
Yeah. And he's saying, she said she's gonna keep the deal, so it'd be okay. It's like, okay, fine, I guess. Well, I just thought you could have maybe.
I hope he just comes back to bite them in the ass so hard. Yeah, because he's not. Listen, that kid, we lost that kid this year. He's not playing himself at all. All he's doing is playing for her love. Come on, it's like, and for a fact they're not going to be together after this is over. Come on.
Hey, Glenn, come on. I thought you were romantic.
Yeah, I'm a realist too. Look at her, look at him. Come on.
Hold on. So you're saying that James and Natalie aren't going to be together? They're together on the show.
Yeah. And my toothbrush is still there too, right? What does that mean?
Glenn, come on. James and Natalie, I think that Jadalee is going to live happily ever after.
It looks sweet. Listen, to me, it looks sweet. It looks real romantic. It looks like a Cinderella story. But they're from two different worlds. So when it comes to reality, listen, I'll be shocked. And if they are, more power to them. I'll be happy for them. But I just really think this is all game.
Well, hey, they've kissed like twice already, so
yeah, Glenn.
I mean, getting pretty serious.
Glenn.
Yeah. And It's I'm glad you guys see it the way I see it, and everybody else when they ask me on the street.
Glenn, will you walk Natalie down the aisle at her wedding with James?
Oh my God! If she asked for me to do it, who knows? I'm a good guy. If it's true love, I'm all for true love. But really,
But not Nicole and Corey, not at Nicole's wedding?
I think they'll get lost on the way to the chapel.
All right, Glenn.
Find their way to your bed again.
Yeah, right.
All right, Glenn. We had America's Care Package show up again. First off, do you like how America's?
Yeah, how about that?
Who
Who voted for Corey? Who voted for Corey? I'm like, how is that possible? I'm like, everybody always, throws these speculations that the games are rigged and all that. I'm like, no, it's only up and up. I've never seen anything in my whole time, Like, who voted for Corey? Like, come on, are you serious? That was the last person I thought was
20 votes on Corey, Glenn?
Oh, my God. Are you crazy? I'm like, I can't believe that. Can you guys believe that? Can you?
Yeah, listen, this is what Nicole could believe it. This was her tonight.
I feel like you're just so loved by people outside and inside of this house.
I hope so.
Yeah, you're so loved by people outside and inside the house.
I was shocked when I heard that. When I heard that happen, I go, no, really? And they were like, really? I'm like, no way. I'm like, really? I was like, I couldn't believe it. It took me like 5 times. I thought everybody was pulling my leg. I'm like, who voted for him?
I think we need to put you on this case, Glenn. We need you to track down these people that voted for Corey and expose.
Yeah, the best thing I saw on Twitter was they were like, "Didn't you see Glenn? He's still in the house. He's the one who throws the parachutes over the roof."
Yes. Glenn, what do you think of the idea of the Big Brother bribe? Do you think that this is a good addition to the game, that Corey can give somebody $5,000 to do something?
It doesn't at this point in the game. It really doesn't play. I think they should have done that sooner and made something more serious now. Like, I don't really see how. Truthfully, since he has a relationship with Nicole, I would just give it to her. Since they're going on a trip together that she won, hey, why not suspend the money? Keep him at, I don't want to say about, future, but I don't know how far you're going to go about with the feeds and all that, so I don't want to say nothing, but,
Wait, what are you saying, Glenn?
Yeah. Hey, don't use something and we're going to have to spend the money.
Yeah. So, Taran, could Corey do that where he just says to Nicole, like, hey, don't put me on the block this week and I'll give you $5,000?
Yeah, I mean, he could. So the rules aren't like the clearest in the world, because what it says is that if somebody accepts it, they have to do this. But does that mean that they have to do it, or they lose the $5,000, or they have to do it, like, period? Like, there is no getting out of it. Because if it's the latter, then this could actually be very powerful, especially for somebody like Corey, who's in power this week. It can essentially be used as a screen to like get people to do what he wants. HOH. When you're HOH, you often have conversations with people that are like, so if I don't put you on the block, if I don't target you, you're going to do X for me, right? And they have to just rely on that person's word. But if this is a binding contract where as soon as they accept this bribe, they must follow through with the what they're told to do, then they can basically lock in place this answer by saying, if we don't put you up, accept this bribe, or we will put you up, and then you're locked into whatever they told you to do. So it could be very, very powerful if the rules work that way, but we'll see if Corey has the mental capability to think about that sort of thing.
Yeah, Glenn, he was saying to Nicole,
it's all gonna come down to Nicole. She's wearing the pants. She's gonna tell him what to do, just like James is telling Natalie everything to do. So it comes down to those two. Whatever she says is he's gonna do. He's gonna go and he's gonna just do it.
Yeah, Nicole was saying to Corey about what they should do, and Corey's like, "Oh, we can make somebody do something stupid for $5,000." It's like, "No, Corey, we need to make them do something about the game." Like, oh yeah, I forgot.
You do it good too.
Glenn, this was Corey after he found out he won the care package.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like Christmas.
Do you really see that? Yeah. Do you see the excitement in him? Oh my God. This is like Christmas.
Yeah. He loves Christmas so much. Did that come up when you guys were in the house? How much he loves Christmas?
No, No, we never talked about that. We
Shame.
talked
Will you
about
send him a Christmas card this year, Glenn, since you know how much he loves
listen.
Christmas?
Yeah, why not? Why not? To be truthful, he's not a bad guy either. Like, but then again, I didn't stay there long enough for these people to get on my nerves, and I can really rip them apart, you know. So,
Mhm.
but other than that, but gameplay.
Okay. So when James and Natalie then are starting to put two and two together about how Nicole and Corey could be working with Paul and Victor potentially, Natalie wants to go say something to Nicole and Corey. She wants to go up there, and James is like, hey, whatever you do not go up there and talk to her, because then that's like if you think somebody is cheating on you, and then you call them and you ask, like, hey, are you cheating on me? That's the worst thing to do. Glenn, what do you think of that advice from James?
It goes to show you how that relationship's going to be. You know,
Yes.
first of all, he doesn't trust nothing. He trusts nothing that she's going to say because he knows she's going to open her mouth and she's going to say something wrong. So, and are you cheating on me? Yeah, I'm going to tell you I'm cheating on you. You're like, come on.
Has James made that phone call before, Glenn, do you think?
Do you think?
Definitely.
Might have been last summer. Yeah.
But he has the concept right where it's like, I mean, it's true, like you don't want to be questioning them, but you also don't want to then ignore them, right?
Mhm.
Like the move is to go and act like everything's totally cool and like you're making plans for the future, and like that might reveal something in them, but they just kind of like stayed out of the way.
Yeah. So ultimately, Nicole's target is Michelle this week. We haven't talked much about her. Well, other than being a super fan, did you enjoy your time with Michelle in the house?
She was a little quiet in the beginning. I think just like Bronte, they were a little crazy about the whole concept of us getting in. Everybody was loud, so I didn't talk to her that much. When I did, she seemed cool to me. I knew she was a super fan. She was telling things. She was the other person like me, telling people things, what was going to happen, what was going to go on. So other than that, she was all right. I didn't have a problem with her.
Okay. All right, let's get into some of these questions that we have for you and about the season as we go along here. And let's start off with this one from West Coast, who says, Glenn, what's easier, grooming an angry, mean-spirited poodle or putting up with the mean-spirited personalities on Big Brother?
Probably grooming a mean-spirited poodle because these people weren't tough at all. I wasn't scared of any of them, man.
All right. This is from Fat Tyson Apostle. How do you feel about Day and Zakia quitting? We touched on that a little bit, but just if you speak for all the people that are in that from the first battle back and dress down Zakia and Davon.
I was just disappointed. I wasn't expecting much from Z, but I was disappointed with Day because I thought Day had a lot in her. And how she's always doing it for the reason, like I was doing it for my daughter too. I thought she would have just gave more effort for that.
Yeah. Okay, this is from Caroline Yeats, who says, Michelle's the only one in the house that's not in a pair. Why isn't someone trying to pick her up? Couldn't Jadalee benefit from keeping her this week? P.S. Is Taran single? Whoa, okay. Hey, first off, Glenn hates showmances. So out of respect to Glenn, we won't even acknowledge that tonight. Glenn, are you surprised that more people aren't trying to court Michelle, or do you think that she's just so toxic at this point to the other groups?
No, at this point, it's all about the numbers, man. So I definitely don't understand. I was hoping Vic and Paul would have brought her in, because then you had 3 wild cards and 3 people outspoken, a little crazy, and they could have used her because Vic's social game isn't that great, and Paul's is, and if he had somebody there to do the same work, I think they'd do good. So I'm wondering why they aren't taking her with them.
Well, Taran, let's just go back to Meech in terms of last week, where she was flying high. I was calling her the next winner of Big Brother. She was co-HOH. And then Natalie puts this bug in her ear about, hey, did you hear this thing about Paul where he lied to you and we need to get Paul out of the house? And she had a good thing going. She was with the Sitting Ducks. She was in a group of 3 with them. And then basically she threw them away to go off with James and Natalie. And now her game is in a very precarious position, Taran.
Absolutely, she just threw away that relationship, and for very little reason. And she actively like slashed and burned all the soil away to like build any sort of relationship by continually arguing with him, yelling at him, and that sort of stuff. So it's like. So she has this contentious relationship now with Paul, who is one member of a pair, and she's always had this contentious relationship with Nicole, and she continually last week also said that she wanted to target and get Nicole out of the house. So that's another person in another pair. So she's alienated two of the pairs in the house, which means she's stuck with one, and all she does is hang out with James and Natalie, making it very, very obvious that she's with them, which doesn't make her an asset to pick up anymore, but a very big liability for those other two pairs.
Yeah.
100%
She was in a
right.
good spot,
100%
Glenn.
right.
She was in a good spot.
100%.
She squandered
But
it.
she, you know, it's going to come back. It's going to come back to bite her in the ass because she should have taken on Nicole. She's been talking about it for so long, and now it's going to come back, and she's going to be, oh, I should have took her out when I had the chance. Guarantee you, that's what she's going to be saying.
Well, unfortunately, I think she talked about it a little too much last week and then didn't ultimately do it. And we touched on this on Friday where she was sort of let it be known that her target was Nicole last week, except she didn't take the shot.
It makes no sense. I don't understand. People
really
talk a
put
big game,
herself
then they'll back it up.
Yeah. Okay. This is from Jeffrey Taliafiero, who says, should Paul have rebelled against Nicole's wishes to put him up as a pawn, or should Paul just agree and not push his luck? This was an interesting thing that came up where the Final Four, what do you think of that alliance name, Glenn? The Final Four.
Real genuine and authentic, right? It's really good. They should have just said the Fantastic Four, you know? Like, come on,
Yeah, that
guys,
would've
get
been
something.
better.
But listen, but when it comes to making names, it's not helping when you're with Nicole and Corey because freakazoids.
So
Again, me trying to be a good guy, me being a good guy, not wanting to stir the pot early, not to freakazoids. Yeah. So Final Four, real authentic.
what should they have called that alliance, Glenn? What should they have named that team?
It should have been the Three Stooges plus one, but
Another candidate for their alliance name was the Real Alliance.
The Real Alliance.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was what Paul was saying when they edited
this
the Real
is-
Alliance out and put in the Final Four.
So anyway, Glenn,
my
so
gosh.
Paul ends up being the pawn here. He willingly accepts it and says, hey, look, if we're going to be working together, I have to show trust, and I have to become the pawn here. Did you like that move for Paul's sake to get on the block here with Big Meech?
I personally, no. I would never want to be a pawn, but if he has to prove and show something,
But
and
you
he
would
felt
take it,
comfortable
Glenn.
enough,
You would-
I guess he
you-
must have felt.
You would relish the opportunity to sit on the block.
Oh, now? Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I would. But if I was in his, but you know the deal with pawns, you know. So, and he's not that well liked. I think Victor would have been a better. Nah, not even Victor. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, they really control a lot of the votes this week because Corey is going to vote and Victor is going to vote. So you have to feel like out of the four people voting that they're in a good spot to protect Paul. And then also Nicole would break a tie in that scenario. So I think that Paul could feel pretty safe in that spot. Normally, I don't like that move, but you feel like you would really be able to control. You'd have to have Nicole and Corey flip back to start working with Natalie and James at that point for Paul to really be in trouble. And I guess crazier things have happened, but you feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's crazier things have happened, and they flip-flop so much that would get me nervous. Like, who knows if they came and said something, and she's like, oh, I really like Natalie, and just the fact that she's saying these things still would give me a little bit of hesitant.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like if there's any spot to do it, this is a pretty decent one. But I do think he should have put out a little more like feelers as far as like, can I get out of this? Because Nicole is very timid in her gameplay, and I think that if he had put up a little bit of resistance, she might have put up somebody else. And the benefit there is that it makes it more difficult for her to change her mind later in the week. So there is benefit to not being up there, but I also can appreciate the fact that this might also be the best way to solidify the relationship with her, because he does need to rely on her to stay this week anyway.
I think part of it was also for Paul and Victor. They really had no leverage in the situation where if Nicole's like, yeah, okay, you'll be the pawn this week, it's really Paul and Victor are in the position of like that's a great idea. I love it. I love it. Let's go. Let's go with that. Like
Exactly.
they're really
They gotta be thankful that Mitchie's there because the battle between them two is the only thing that really is making him feel a little more secure.
Yeah, because if they push back on it hard enough, then Nicole and Corey could eventually say like, "Are we better off just going with James and Natalie? Like these guys are really being hard to deal with." So I think they just have to take the deal. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah,
Flame
exactly. And I think if Paul,
yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. That you think if Paul what?
No, I was gonna say if Paul stays, and then if Vic and Paul, one of them win HOH, I can see them just shafting these guys and putting up one from each crew, and James will go up and Nicole will be up.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that when we get to the live feeds of where do we think this is going next week, because that's always fun to look at, especially once we start to see what we think is going to happen in any given week, and where do we go from here. Flaming Kong says, I think if it wasn't for that first comp evicting someone, that you would still be in the game right now. If that was the case, who would you be siding with at this point? Would you be the third guy with the sitting ducks?
Yeah, probably, because I was in tight with these guys. I still would have been playing everybody. I had good relationships with everybody, so it's hard to say now. I could tell you I had the best strategy in the world right now, but like who knows? Like if I would have blown up or if I would have done I don't know. If in the perfect world, yeah, I'd be working with the Sin Ducks right now.
Okay. One more question, and we'll do the live feeds. This is from Jonathan David Gannon. If Michelle gets evicted, is her downfall essentially the fault of America for voting her the co-HOH, thus not allowing her to play in the wall challenge? Did America screw over Big Meech?
No, I don't think America screwed her over. I think she screwed herself over when not going after the targets she went after. You got to believe in your gut, and her gut was like she had to get rid of Nicole. When she had the opportunity, she should have just done it.
Yeah, and you know what? Glenn doesn't want to hear about how anybody that's still in the house is getting screwed over right now, right, Glenn?
Exactly.
Yeah.
As they tell me, I've been jodied.
Yes, you've been jodied. Yeah, cry me a river, Big Meech.
I don't want him to be mad at me.
Yeah. So they keep showing Jody so much, Glenn. Are they potentially setting up a Glenn versus Jody showdown at some point?
I don't think it's showdown against us two, but maybe I would love for us to be able to get our just due and get back into some type of game.
Yeah. Glenn, I saw on Twitter that you were mad that they didn't even let you have your water bottle from the house. Everybody else has a Big Brother water bottle.
They didn't let me get my water bottle. They didn't let me get my toothbrush back. I didn't even get to meet Julie. I'm like, I'm good.
Well, you'll go to the finale. You go to the finale. You'll meet Julie there.
Here's what they should do. They should throw you and Jody in this next Big Brother Online season as two of the players.
What do you think of that?
I'd be down. I'd be down if they told me, but
make it happen.
I haven't heard anything, so
yeah.
Well, I need the people to make it happen. They got a voice that they wanted to be seen, and
Well, Glenn, I want to get you a America's Care package with your water bottle and a toothbrush. Well, I want to get that for you from the Big Brother store. We can make that happen. Yeah.
Just make sure that none of it has to do with coconuts.
No coconuts. No coconuts. All right, so let's get into talking about the live feeds. Of course, we will be back again Wednesday night for our next recap live, and we'll talk about everything that happens in the veto competition. Until then, let's go ahead and jump into what's going on with the live feeds.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected, and that protective action should be taken.
Glenn is like, what's going on right now? What is this?
I like it. That's good.
Sign up for this. Okay. All right, Glenn. All right, time to talk about the live feeds and what's going on for the weekend in the Big Brother house and the veto competition. All right, Taran, update us.
So, Nicole won the veto, and my first thought was, what were you thinking, Nicole?
What is going on?
Yes. Wow.
Holy crap!
So Nicole won. What do we know? What the competition was, Taran?
It was stay or fold, and ultimately what we found out was that it went down to Nicole and Michelle, and that's why she decided she had to win it, because she didn't want Michelle to save herself.
Okay, so Nicole has the veto. Nominations will remain the same?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so any other major updates in the state of affairs in the House, or is Meech scheduled to go home?
Meech is currently scheduled to go home. You know, Nicole has talked a little bit about, like, I mean, as Nicole does, looking through all of her options, saying maybe we could switch, but it ultimately always comes down to, no, this is the best move for us strategically, and that's been sticking strong for the most part. But she is so wishy-washy. It wouldn't surprise me if Paul did something that was a little out of whack, and it made her go, wait a minute, maybe I need to get Paul out.
So, as we were talking about before, the vote is likely going to be a 2-2 vote, with Nicole having to be the person who splits the vote and sending Meech out. Taran, is that correct?
It's unclear, because right now what she told James and Natalie was that she's putting up Michelle and Paul, and Michelle is the pawn, and she wants Paul gone. And they still believe that. Michelle is very skeptical of it, and she keeps saying, I think they want me gone. But James keeps telling her, don't worry about it. I think she really wants Paul gone. Nicole does plan on telling James and Natalie at some point, look, my real target is Michelle. At that point, James and Natalie might switch their votes, just so they're not like forcing a tie or anything, to make it seem like, oh yeah, we're totally on board with that. Maybe Natalie would give her a pity vote. It's unclear, but at best the vote would be 2-2. Yes.
Glenn, do you think that Nicole would enjoy that? Be the person to send Meech out of the House personally?
Yeah, I think she's thriving for that. I think she wants that since the get. They've been going at it for a long time, so I think definitely she'll have a big smile on her face when she does it.
She actually was very nervous about being put in that role. She was really hoping that Victor would win the veto and take Paul down, so that she would be forced to put up James or Natalie, and then it would be like, oh, I'm so sorry guys, there's nothing I can do, we just got to send Michelle out, because she doesn't want to be put in that position where she's making some sort of big decision, especially if it seems like it's going against James and Natalie. So I mean, it's pretty in line with Nicole's game, and definitely understandable, but definitely didn't work out that way because she won the veto.
So, Taran, at this point in time, do James and Natalie just still have meetings with Nicole and Corey, or they're still under the impression that Final Four is still in place?
They really haven't been talking to them much. They've been noticing that Nicole and Corey are spending a ton of time with Paul and Victor, and they're like, what's up with that? That seems weird.
If we just don't think about it, Nat, we'll be okay. It'll be fine. We just don't think about it.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like, meanwhile, Paul and Victor are up there in the HOH.
Surprised about that too.
Yeah, they're up there in the HOH making fun of Nicole and her like 1 or 2 student class size. The yearbook would be 1 page. And they're hanging out downstairs, just the 3 of them, talking to themselves, talking about how, like, oh man, it would really suck if we got screwed. Yeah, do something about it.
Yeah, Glenn, won't it be great though when Natalie figures out that they've been had and she really just like reams James out, like, you had to get off the wall, didn't you? You couldn't just win HOH. It was so easy. You and your wall.
And I love how I also love how he's already proclaiming that he's going to be America's favorite player. Like, he thinks he has that in the bag already, this guy.
Yeah. I'm talking to America's favorite player. How about that?
That's it, baby. Let's do it.
James said, I think for sure that I'm at least going to be one of the names that Julie reads out as one of the options for the top vote getters for America's favorite player.
And that's another thing that's boggling. But, hey, Corey won the package, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no idea. We can't predict how these votes are going to go. It's like a Brexit every single week. Nobody knows exactly. Like, the polls say one thing and then something else happens. We don't know. We don't.
Yeah,
know exactly.
It's crazy.
Polls are rigged.
And, it goes to show. They should have. Everybody should. Yeah. I can't talk about it. Even though I'm moving up on Jokers, I'm like,
Yeah,
I
where
was in
are
the show
you at
for
right
14.
now?
I'm
What's
already,
I think he's at number 8 right now.
Hey, that's halfway, the top half.
I think I was 6 yesterday, so like
Oh,
I
you're
teeter-totter more
dropping.
than.
After tonight, you'll be back. I hope so.
I do
Hopefully
think
you don't
he's on the
drop
rise.
after
It's
this.
funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
If there are any Jokers members that listen to RHAP, let's get a push for Glenn. Let's get him a little higher.
Yeah. Make America great,
That would be.
Glenn. Yeah.
And I love that how people,
America's favorite.
how they all storm me and tell me I'm a Trump supporter. I never even said that. All I just said is that they were both idiots in office. I said, and I just hate politicians. I'm like, so
yeah, you're
I
the
said,
same
if anybody,
way about politics that you are about Big Brother, that they're all a bunch of idiots that are out there, right?
Jesus Christ, it's just.
All right. Let's do a couple more questions too. Vincent Duncan says, do you think the way that Vic has battled back twice and now Paul has made some enemies this past week could be enough to compel a jury to vote for Victor over Paul? Glenn, if you could vote Victor and Paul in the final two, who would you cast your vote for?
Ooh, I think I would go Paul.
Paul.
I think I would go Paul because Paul stayed in. He's never been evicted. Even though he's battled back, and you got to give him the credit for being a comp beast, I think it's still the whole idea of the game is never to be evicted. And I think that would weigh him more. He did what he had to do to stay in a game. So I kind of feel like I probably would lean towards Paul.
Yeah. Taran, how do you feel like the jury would vote if it was ultimately Paul versus Victor?
I do think that Paul would take it, but I think it could be close because I think that a lot of those jurors are definitely rooting for Victor, and the fact that when they were told that they were going to be battling back into the house, they were all saying, "Well, I hope it's not Victor we're against." It says that they have a lot of respect for him and his competition prowess. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not they value that enough to say this matters to us more than Paul's ability in the game. And I think it could really come down to just like how upset are they with Paul when it comes down to that final two.
You know, let's look ahead to next week, where I think that Nicole and Corey are in a really incredible spot here, because if we have the next HOH, if Big Meech does go out of the house on Thursday, as we expect, if the next HOH is Natalie or James, you got to figure that it's going to be Paul and Victor that go up on the block. Or if Paul and Victor win HOH, you got to figure it's going to be James and Natalie going up on the block. Glenn, do you think that Nicole and Corey are safe next week no matter what?
I think no. I think if Victor and Paul go up, if one of them win HOH, I think what they'll do is they'll split it. I think they'll put up James and they'll tell Nicole that you're just a pawn with hey, if it happens, it happens. Either way, it's a win-win.
Yeah, what do you think, Taran? Do you feel like that? And then barring, then if you put up James and Natalie and then James wins the veto, you have to put somebody else up, and who knows how it could go. But do you feel like that in the initial nominations that the pair of Nicole and Corey are safe no matter what?
They should be, and this is the strength of this move because it sets them up really well. Things don't always work out that smoothly, though. James and Natalie could feel so betrayed that they think, you know what, we're going to put Nicole and Corey up on the block anyway, even though Paul and Victor are bigger threats. Or the fact that Nicole won HOH and then veto could tell them, oh, maybe she's been throwing competitions all season and she's really, really good at them. Maybe she really is a bigger threat than these other two guys coming in these last mental comps, and say maybe we do need to get rid of them. So it really could go that way, but theoretically the way that it's set up, you're right, they should be safe, and I would expect them to be under most circumstances.
Okay. Taran, a lot of people are asking about there was a drone incident in the backyard today. Could you elaborate a little bit on this?
Yeah, so there was a drone that was flown over
Glenn,
the house.
Did you not hear about this?
Yeah, I saw pictures of it.
Okay, all right. So Taran, what's going on with the drone?
So there was this is an unorthodox way of sending a message to the house guests. Usually it's some sort of banner or something drawn in the sky. In this instance, there was an adult pleasure doll I'll call it, that was attached to the drone, and they attempted to get this over and dropped into the yard, and it had a message written on it that was just like complete gibberish.
Okay. All right. Glenn, what do you make of this? Who's responsible?
I have no clue. I don't know what it is. I have no clue. I just seen all the little the add-ons that people have been putting on the faces on there, and I've just been cracking up with it.
So Taran, there was an inflatable doll that was attached to a drone.
Full size.
A full-sized inflatable doll.
Yep.
Anatomically correct inflatable doll that was sent a female doll.
Yep.
Okay, that was sent into the Big Brother backyard with gibberish written on it. What is this, like the work of Dexter?
Maybe. The message was like JUR8, BBS18 #1. So some people are speculating maybe it was like
Does that code mean anything to you, Glenn? Anything, Glenn? I think they got Glenn. Taran.
Well, some people are speculating that it means Joker's updates rates Big Brother season 18 #1, which really doesn't really make a lot of sense anyway. So,
what do you think? What does it all mean, Glenn? Do you have any clues, any inklings?
No, I wish the drone would have picked me up and dropped me in the yard.
Yeah, should the.
No, it's a wild Glenn.
Yeah, quick, get him.
This time you have to drag me down.
Yeah.
I think the best part was as soon as Michelle saw this, she booked it inside. Like she was running for her life, and she later said that she thought it was a bomb that was going to be dropped on them.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Huge target. Big Brother backyard.
Did it make it into the yard? Did it make it in, or did it just hover over?
I think it was flying over. It never made it all the way in. But the feed's cut, so we won't know for sure.
We don't know what happened. Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, we've come a long way from flying airplanes with banners to landing drones with blow-up dolls.
Tennis balls, right? Didn't they have tennis balls being thrown in and stuff like that?
Yeah, all sorts of different things. Okay.
Back in my day, we used banner planes, not this newfangled technology.
Not these drones with blow-up dolls. All right. So. All right, Casey K says, on the feeds, did Natalie, James, and Michelle even talk to Nicole from the show tonight? It looked like a dumb move on their part, not even trying to talk to the HOH. Yeah, Taran, we pretty much confirmed that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, they did talk to them, just not, nearly as much as Victor and Paul did.
Yeah. Would they have talked to a blow-up doll that looked like Nicole?
Maybe. You never know.
You never know.
They could have practiced on it.
Yeah.
Or they were gonna slip it into the bed with Corey when Nicole's up there and do something else.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Taliaferro, does James babbling that Natalie wants Victor to stay completely confirm his head is not in the game? Yeah, I think we pretty much have confirmed this. James not really one of these strategic masterminds. Let's do one more question. This is from Jaden Spliff. Glenn, when you were sequestered in the same house, Glenn, were you sequestered the whole time in the same house, alone the whole time, even after Jose beat you in the battle back? Also, how was it partying with Jose? Saw the pictures of you with him out in NYC.
No, sequestered. We're completely sequestered by ourselves. We didn't, just completely. And in the city, meeting up with him was great. Of course, he came fashionably late, like I expected him to do.
So where
but
does
it's always
he live,
great seeing him because he is a good guy.
Yeah.
He lives both. He lives in New York and LA. But in the meantime, I guess until we go back for the finale, he had more business that he could work out here in New York. So that's why he came back to New York. So
Yeah.
I think he's in Brooklyn. But then when we go back, I guess he'll stay in LA. He's got a job that he can really fluctuate, and wherever big city is, he's got work.
How's everything going in the boogie down Bronx?
Everything's copacetic. People getting shot everywhere. and crime is up like it always is.
So did they really keep you sequestered by yourself even after both you and Jose had lost the battle back?
Yeah, it was different. It was different. There was different houses. So
That
people were in
seems
different
cruel and
locations.
unusual.
That's all I could say, really.
Yeah.
It was. Don't get me wrong. It was a beautiful house. It wasn't like I was in a hotel room. So that was the key.
Okay.
I wasn't in a hotel room, but I was in a beautiful house.
You.
And
we were picturing you like slaving away in a like little hotel room, just like we want to get back in the house.
Yeah. Glad we were pulling for you so hard in that battle back. We thought you could do it.
Yeah, so did I, man. So did I. And that stupid poison berry. I could have sworn I got it in because I counted them, and I was like, and I put it in. I didn't see them fall. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, this is like, we have to look at the tape. So I actually stopped so they can look at the tape again. At 2 photo finishes, about the, and I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Glenn, you'll be headed back out to LA for the finale next month, right?
Yes.
And they're not gonna try any funny business with you at the finale. That you'll be there for the finale, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be there for the finale.
Good.
And hopefully, I'm one of those AFPs up there because that would be really nice.
Yes. All right. Well, right now you're looking at the number 8 person on Jokers. More popular than people in the house like James, Big Meech, Nicole, and Corey. Corey has dropped to, he is last in the Jokers update poll. Taran, make sense of this.
Oh,
he's last of the players left in the house, right? Or is he just completely last?
Of the players, only Zakiya, Jose, and Paulie are lower than him.
Yeah, I mean he's gone up a little bit, I think, in the recent events, just because he's now working with Paul, and I'd expect him to maybe even go up a little further.
But here's what I don't understand. So that we had this contest on Thursday night, and vote for America's favorite player in the game right now. And no winner care package. Voting opens at 12 midnight Pacific time and goes. So the only people that could have don't tell me that some casual fan is getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go start voting for Corey, because at that point they're not a casual fan that when they're waking up in the middle of the night to go and vote for Corey. So you have to imagine that it's the live feed watchers that are doing this.
Yeah, the theories that have come to me basically say like there were twofold things that happened, right? One is that Paul and Victor split the votes with each other. So essentially, if they split the votes 50-50, then that's like a huge decrease in the percentage of votes that they get. And then also, because it was such a small voting period, we theoretically we saw Nicole's fan base and even James's fan base, tweeting out, getting all of their followers and stuff to make sure that they voted within this very specific window to vote for Corey. And so those two things combined may have contributed to Corey getting just enough to cover the split votes of Victor and Paul, but it still just seems pretty unlikely.
All right, Taran Armstrong, the Nate Silver of Big Brother polling. Thank you for that breakdown. Glenn, do you buy in any of that?
No.
Nate Silver, if I can do the explanation afterward and never get a prediction right before.
They should just show the numbers. It's just hard to believe. The other ones I could have expected. I was blindsided with that one.
Yeah, total blindside. All right, Glenn, this was so much fun. I'm so glad that we were doing this. Are you going to watch the Big Brother Digital season if you're not on it?
I'm a fan. I probably will.
Okay. All right. Well, Glenn, I'd love to talk to you as much as you want to come on and talk about these shows. You going to watch Survivor Millennials versus Gen X?
Yeah, definitely.
I called it Millennials versus Glenn's Eggs.
Hey, listen, but let me ask you something. Wouldn't I have been good on that show with the people my age? I'm like, you couldn't have said, hey, maybe not this one, but we got another great one for you, and I would have been loving that one.
Yeah. What do you think about these millennials that you were battling in the house?
I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. They didn't know the game. They were young. I was like so much older than them. Like there wasn't even nobody close to me. So I'm curious on how the conversations would have went. I think it would have just been. I remember one time I'm taking a shower and there was a bunch of people in the bathroom and they were talking about schooling and they said, Glenn, when did you graduate high school? And I was like, 1984. And they were like, I think 6 out of the 7 people in the bathroom were like, we weren't even born yet. And I was like, oh, great. I said, I'm going to have such a great time here.
Did James play any pranks on you when you were in the house?
No, and be honest with you, I told James, I first got there the first day, and he did nothing funny, and I was thinking of him always this clown, and finally the day that I was going for my final competition, I said, you know something, James? I go, you're a front. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, you're a front. You haven't made me laugh yet once. And he was like, oh, you got to give me time. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Glenn, were you upset when you found out you missed the Ziggy Marley concert in the backyard of the Big Brother this summer?
I was so upset.
You could have been right there with Ziggy Marley.
Listen, I love reggae. I was there. Didn't you see the cutout?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Do you at least get to keep the cutout?
That cowboy outfit? I don't get to keep anything. I get 2 pairs of shorts. That's about it.
All right, well, Glenn, this was so much fun. So glad that we could get you to come on here and talk about all this stuff.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I wanted to be on your show for a while. I'm just glad that the powers that be finally released the clinch. Finally let it happen, and I had a great time, man.
Okay, Glenn, do you have a hashtag you want people to use that as they listen to the podcast to tweet about?
Let's go with America's favorite player, BB18. Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, well, so what is it, Glenn for AFP?
Glenn for AFP, or yes, or some people have been saying yes, we Glenn.
Yes, we Glenn. I'm with Glenn.
We can split it by political party. Yes, we Glenn, and make America great Glenn.
America great Glenn.
I'm telling you, before this, I'd never been on Twitter, and since I've been out, it's like the best reading material there is. It cracks me up.
Okay. Now, of course, I want to mention this. So you're on Twitter now at GlennBX is you on Twitter, and Glenn,
it's
now
Glenn
you
with 3
are
N's.
so Glenn with 3 N's BX, and you have recently become verified on Twitter. Now, how did this happen, Glenn? Because I've been on Twitter for like 7 years. I've been doing a podcast a day for the last 4 years. And Twitter has said that they will never verify me no matter what happens.
If I tell you, then I'll have to kill you.
Okay. Well, I don't
to be
want
honest
that.
with you, be honest with you, I really don't even know, man. To be honest with you, I really don't know. I started getting a lot of feedback, and all of a sudden, I got this email, and I was like, wow, I'm verified. I didn't even know what it meant.
Yeah.
I didn't even know, and all of a sudden, I see everybody being pissed about it, and I was like, oh, I guess it's a big deal.
All the haters. Don't listen to them, Glenn. Glenn, tomorrow I have so I got this drone, and I have a blow-up doll that I'm flying into the Twitter headquarters that says verify at Rob Cesternino. I'm gonna fly that baby in there, and then land it right in Twitter headquarters.
It's crazy.
With 3 N's BX sent me.
Yeah, exactly. Tell them I sent you. Say don't let us bring the boys over from the East Coast over. Where are you? Are you on the East Coast or West Coast?
I'm from Long Island originally, Glenn, but I'm out in L.A.
Oh, okay.
I'll be coming back. How hot is it? I'll be coming back in a couple days to go visit my family.
Oh, it's real hot here. Look at me. I'm burnt.
Yeah. All right. Well, Glenn, this was so much fun to get to talk to you. Hope this was a
definitely. Am I gonna see you guys at the finale? You gonna be around?
They won't let me into the show, I bet, but maybe that week when you're here. That's a tough ticket to get, Glenn.
The after parties. The parties are always better than anyway.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Maybe if we can get in, hopefully I get to see you while you're out here. All right, Glenn. Thank you so much. Of course, you can catch Taran Armstrong as well on the reality TV Happy Hour with special guest host Mike Bloom tomorrow, right, Taran?
Yeah, and also American Ninja Warrior. I do that recap podcast, and they're about to start the national finals in Vegas. It's a really great time to start watching if you haven't checked it out yet. It's the finals. It's the best part of the show. You don't need to have seen anything before it. Check it out. We have a lot of fun, Lita and I, talking about that show. So come watch us.
Okay, Glenn, what about American Ninja Warrior? Could we get you on that one?
Yeah, that'll be funny. See if I can fit in that outfit.
All right, well, good stuff. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes. That we are going to also have tomorrow our Australian Survivor coverage. That I think that we're normally going to do that on Tuesday because we now added a third Australian Survivor. Glenn, could you imagine watching Australian Survivor?
Oh my God, with those accents, drive me crazy.
Oh no, Glenn.
You think my accent's dead? Come on.
Yes, Australian Survivor recap coming tomorrow. Taran, I think we might be double booked on that one.
Oh yeah, the happy hour.
Yeah, I think so. I think that we might be going head to head in that time slot. Unfortunately,
Yeah, sorry, we'll be taking away all your listeners.
Yeah. Well, we'll have all the Australian listeners who won't be following what's going on the Big Brother Happy Hour on Monday night. So, Stephen and I, that the plan is 7 p.m. Eastern for that. Is that what time the Big Brother is going on as well?
We're going to start at 6
okay,
on
all
Eastern.
right.
So
You'll be a good lead-in for that.
Good window.
Good window. All right. So, busy Monday night on RHAP. So make sure you don't miss any of it. Check it out all on robbinswebsite.com or subscribe to the podcast, robbinswebsite.com/iTunes. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.
Take care.